It is now 4:05 p.m. I will call the March 16th meeting of the Wolfeboro Police Commission to order at this time. I invite everybody here to stand and join me to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I will also entertain a consideration of the minutes from our February 16th meeting.
I would move that the minutes be accepted as prepared.
Okay, we have a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and just to clarify, I did not vote in that vote, and I will not be voting this afternoon. I just learned today that my votes would not be valid anyway. So, first of all, I'd like to thank everybody for their continued support, not only for the Wolfeboro Police Department, but and the Commission, but also for my re-election yesterday. I officially can't be sworn in until Monday. But so therefore, my votes would be negated anyway, so I won't be casting any votes. But I'll still be leading this afternoon's meeting, and barring any opposing views from these two gentlemen, they are, if it's a 2-0 vote, that's all we need to pass anything. So we'll move forward with our business as usual, unless we run into a tie vote, and that'll be put off until our April meeting. Okay. And, Chief, the monthly reports, if you would, please.
Thank you. So moving to the first slide on your deck, you're going to see incidents year to date. Remember, this is the second month of the year so far. So we saw a 22.95% increase from 61 to 75. So there were 67 offenses in the month of February, remember? So we got an increase there of 22.95%. Moving on to arrests, we had a 50% decrease from 18 to 9. We had a lot of officers on leave during the month of February. So that, I think, accounts for some of that decrease. And then, of course, with the increase in incidents, I think you'll see it kind of average itself out through the rest of the year. As always, you have the background data. If you gentlemen want to drill down into that, you may. Moving on to the next slide in your deck, just traffic stops. We had a decrease of 51.82% from 185 to 89. 7 tickets were given out, and that is a 7.86% chance of getting a ticket. And you do have the backup data if you want to see where and when those stops
Chief,
occurred.
what would you attribute the lesser amount of
Same thing, we
stops?
had a lot of officers on leave the month of February.
Okay.
So, across the board, it's going to have an impact on just about everything. Except collisions. So all of a sudden, we forgot how to drive again, and we went from 11 to 14 collisions in the month of February, and that's a 27.27% increase. Actually, that is due to periods of inclement weather that we had. Most of our traffic crashes that we see, especially during the winter time, occur during periods of inclement weather. So that's one of the reasons I say, if you don't have to go out, don't. Make other plans, do. And try to move appointments or reschedule things, especially during these bad nor'easters like the one we just had a few days ago. Moving on with the school resource officer report, and just so you know, our SROs were at the school board meeting a few days ago, and everything went well. The school board is getting our monthly reports, and they'll also get a annual yearly wrap-up from me, and I'll go and I'll present that at their leisure.
Okay. And are we breaking out that information for what's occurring off campus but reported to the SROs?
They're working on it.
Yeah, they're working on it. We haven't come up with a format yet, but we're
Right.
working on it.
Okay,
So-
as long as
and
they're
that did-
aware of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did have a telephone call with the superintendent just the other day. We were discussing that, and that was one of the things that came up in the school board meeting, and I said, nope, I'm on it, and we're gonna do that. So, yeah, we wanna be able to really drill down on that data, so we can do some assessments later on down the road. February was the 6th month of school for SRO Divine, with 17 days of school. After we had one snow day. SRO Divine responded to several incidents at the Kingswood High and Middle School, and one school bus related complaint. SRO Divine wrote 25 reports. The high school, she had 18 reports. SRO Divine took a report regarding a suicidal student, which resulted in a false report and investigation of contempt of court for no contact order. The report was forwarded to another jurisdiction out of state to be investigated further, with pending charges out of that police department that has jurisdiction. SRO Divine took a report of assault, which resulted in school discipline. SRO took a report of theft, which after a quick investigation, the item was given back with no further police action. SRO Divine took a report of theft at Lakes Region Technology Center. The student received school discipline. Let me back up to that one above it, right? Back in the old days, we would take a report on something like this, and that report would go to the patrol division. And so what does that really mean? That means that there's a police resource being tied up for something that was dealt with very quickly and very efficiently, and no further criminal action was required on the part of the police officer. So this, although seemingly insignificant and innocuous, is really huge when we talk about conserving police resources, right? This is exactly why we have an SRO up there, all right? Because if we didn't have that SRO up there, something like this would have turned into a criminal complaint, and the police department would get involved, and it would be tying up and wasting resources on something that was that could reasonably be dealt with very quickly and very efficiently, and without any further action, and that's always a good thing. SRO Divine took a report of 2 students had assaulted each other. Both students received school discipline. SRO Divine took a report of child abuse. DCYF was notified, as well as another officer for assistance, as the assault did not happen in school. SRO Divine investigated disorderly conduct complaint at the middle school girls basketball game and at the high school. SRO Divine investigated a report of harassment. The investigation was ended at the request of the victim. SRO Divine located a student who was missing after reporting they were assaulted at school. SRO Divine found the student on campus, and through the investigation found that the claim was false. No further charges have been filed. SRO Divine contacted DCYF twice for 2 students to report truancy. The report was forwarded to juvenile probation to get the student to school prior to court involvement with a CHINS, child in need of supervision. So that's a CHINS is a petition. It's a type of petition. I just wanted to be clear on that. SRO Divine took 3 reports regarding students in possession of tobacco and vapes. All students received in-school discipline. SRO Divine took a report of assault. After reviewing surveillance, the claim was determined to be false and no further police action. Moving on to the middle school, SRO Divine assisted the administration with a disorderly student who was transported to the Wolfeboro Police Department. SRO Divine assisted the administration with another disorderly student who was non-cooperative. SRO Divine remained with the student until a parent arrived. School discipline was issued to the student, no further police action. SRO Divine assisted the administration with a third disorderly student. School discipline was given to the student. SRO Divine assisted Kingswood Regional School District Transportation and other agencies after she took a report of an irate parent attempting to gain access to a school bus with children inside in a separate jurisdiction. SRO Divine took a report of theft that was unfounded. SRO Divine assisted administration with a 4th disorderly student. School discipline was issued. SRO Divine assisted administration with a student who ran off from school. SRO Divine located the student, took temporary custody of the child until the parent could arrive. School discipline was issued to the student, no further police action. SRO Divine sent a referral to juvenile probation for a CANS assessment, a strengths and needs assessment. That's what a child strength and needs assessment. For a student who brought drugs to school, a CANS must be completed prior to charges being filed.
Chief, before we go on to Corporal Boucher's report, I'd just like to talk briefly about SRO Divine and the workload that's being experienced up at the school complex, because we reported During the process, as you know, during town vote, there were 2 warrant articles. One was on the school warrant. We won't know the results of that until after Effingham votes on March 28th. But as far as the town of Wolfeboro vote that was specific to the police officer, the SRO coming back to the town when school's not in session, that passed by a 2-to-1 margin. Again, we thank the public for the support that we do receive in our endeavors. But to speak to that, looking at the data, we had 25 incidents on the school complex in February, the month of February. We've already had 69 incidents reported so far this year in a month and a half. In all of last year, we had 169 incidents, which was high, but the numbers are trending in the wrong direction. They're continuing to climb. And again, and I've made this statement at school board meeting, and I did it to, in a letter that I put in the paper. In no way are we inferring that the school complex is a dangerous complex, but the types of events or incidents that are happening up there are the types of incidents that do require police intervention. Those that don't are handled by the administration. And somebody said to me, well, your numbers are high because, you know, they're up there arresting kids for vaping and smoking. Well, you see here for this month, that when the chief just gave the numbers, I think there was 3 cases. In 2022, out of 169 incidents, only 20 were smoking and vaping. So that's a small percentage of what the overall caseload is up there. And a lot of that stuff, like the vaping, once that's investigated, that can be passed off to the school administration for whatever they want to deem necessary for punishment or not. But so just to wrap it up real quick, we are grateful that the town of Wolfeboro has supported our endeavor to get another SRO up there. As you can see, it's very much needed. We hope the rest of the school district follows, and we'll learn that later on this month. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to add that those reports that I just read from the middle school, 7 separate incidences that had occurred, 3 of those were totally students. And I will tell you that when you have disruptions in the classroom or in school, no one is learning. No one is learning. So it really is important to get those situations dealt with very quickly and efficiently, return the piece to the school. The student is either disciplined by the school officials or turned over to a parent, but peace is restored and everybody can go back to learning, and that's critically important. And that's really, you know, one of the primary core tasks of the school resource officer, especially at the middle school, is to make sure that campus remains within the peace, which is what we do. And so moving on, I'm now going to talk about Corporal Jason Boucher, who's also a part-time school resource officer, who's covering Carpenter and Crescent Lake. And Corporal Boucher was assigned as a school resource officer, worked at Carpenter School in Crescent Lake during the month of February. Corporal Boucher was able to stop by classrooms and meet a few students and is developing relationships with the students and staff. Corporal Boucher continues to assist SRO Devine when needed at the high school, middle school, and with questions over the phone. Corporal Boucher has daily meetings with SRO Devine prior to heading out to his schools. Corporal Boucher and SRO Devine had a monthly meeting with Captain Libby to go over operational activities and SRO needs and requirements. Corporal Boucher was in court this past month on 4 occasions dealing with juvenile-related issues. Corporal Boucher is working with our local court-appointed JPPO, Juvenile Parole and Probation Officer, say that 4 times fast, with all court matters involving the juveniles in our school district. Corporal Boucher continues to sit at the rear of the Arts Center building in the mornings to keep an eye on early morning activities and keep the peace. Additionally, he has been tasked with monitoring the area because of complaints about reckless driving, speed, and parking complaints. His presence each and every morning has been noticed by all, and this seems to have had a positive effect on the situation. Complaints about student drivers and other concerns have slowed. Corporal Boucher located 2 uninspected motor vehicles that were brought to the students' attention for action. This will continue to happen throughout the rest of the school year. What we're looking for is voluntary compliance with the law, and this is working very well. So Corporal Boucher assisted Detective Emerson with emptying the drug take-back box at the police department This duty has now been turned over to Sergeant Sparrow moving forward. Corporal Boucher taught crease to 5 schools and those at the Governor Wentworth Regional School District Administrative Building this past month. A crease is essentially a program for active shooter training for the staff. That's something that was desperately needed by the district. Corporal Boucher has only Middleton Elementary School left to provide training to within the school district. Hands-on training will be on March 14th at the Kingswood Regional High School. Additionally, Corporal Boucher continues to receive positive feedback from the teachers and administration on his training and school activities. Corporal Boucher has been requested to stop by several classrooms to go over escape routes and what should happen. Corporal Boucher has had a busy February at both schools, Carpenter Elementary School, and had 5 incidents with Crescent Lake School and 7 incidents with Carpenter. So that completes that report. You gentlemen have his spreadsheet if you want to see exactly what activities he's got listed. During the monthly activity for the month of February, Detective Emerson once again covered multiple open patrol shifts, and we do appreciate that. Detective Emerson, as an agent member of the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, assisted the team on targets in the Concord area. Detective Emerson was assigned the following cases this month: 1 endangering the welfare of a child, 1 neighbor dispute, 1 assault, 1 sexual assault, 1 aggravated felonious sexual assault, and 1 IEA. Percentage of cases closed this month is 87%. Percentage of new cases closed by arrest during the month is 0. Percentage of entire caseload closed, 86%. And you have his spreadsheet. Gentlemen, with your permission, Mr. Chairman, I'll move on with the chief's items.
Do you have any questions, Commissioner O'Brien?
No.
Commissioner Coop? No?
I do not.
Okay, please.
So under general budget items, now that the budget has passed, we're waiting for the town finance officer to update the PD's budget with the new numbers, and this has happened. This will result in new percentages of expenditures. Once I and the command staff have an opportunity to analyze the new budgets, we will present our analysis to you. That date is to be determined, but hopefully we'll do so in April. And we must wait for the finance officer to upload the new data into the town system, which has been completed, by the way. So thank you very much for that. Budget snapshot prepared by Captain Mark Libby. See the attached Excel spreadsheet. So the PD is running a bit hot on the FY23 budget. At the time of the writing of this report, we were at, the whole budget was 0.273% overspent. This is due to shift coverage issues and the 1 January 2023 pullout of funds for the FY22 budget. This is an approximately $8,000 cost, which was not budgeted for. In FY24, we will have to budget for 2 extra days in addition to the 52 weeks. And gentlemen, that is, that's something I've been tracking on in past practice for as long as I've been here. We've never done that. We've only budgeted for the 52 weeks, regardless of where the billing cycle landed. And that's what's kind of goofing us up. So what we want to do now is make the budget much more efficient. We want to budget for those, if need be, for those extra days. And we know we have to do that in fiscal year 24 moving forward. The good news is, since the writing of this, and you'll see the numbers in your report, the captain had done a quick budget analysis earlier this afternoon, and we've actually recouped a little bit of money. Do you want to talk about that? I'm not going to go into these numbers because they're ancient history now.
Yeah, I mean, the basics of it, we're 0.65% over, so now we've cut that in half to 0.33%. So going into week 10, I think we are. 10 or 11, I think we're in that ballpark.
So we made some changes to running of the shifts and shift scheduling, and we've been able to start realizing some recouping of costs by cutting out overtime shifts, and that's been working well. So what it means is that the captain, myself, and the lieutenant are providing that extra coverage for the day shift, and then we're able to take those extra officers and plug them into the gaps and seams in the schedule, and that's drastically cutting back on our overtime.
That's a great way to lead by example, thank you.
Yeah, so that was, yeah, we started doing that, what, about 2-3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, right after this analysis was done, we started doing that. Because I get concerned, when we start running hot on the budget, I get a little worried. And I don't wanna run hot at all. But, yeah, we're running a little hot, and it's shift coverage is what's killing us. So, we've got Chris Dustin in the academy, we've got one officer who's we have a vacancy.
Right.
So, yeah, so, that's beating us up a little. Officer Dustin, so under personnel, moving forward, under personnel, Officer Dustin is scheduled to attend the 191 class recycled this coming 27 March. We will pick up at week 5 where he left off. In the meantime, we have him covering shifts as he is still part-time certified. Which means that he's now gonna graduate 5 weeks later than we originally anticipated. So.
But the good news is he won't need an FTO after, he'll be able to go right to
The
work.
good news is he will not need an FTO, no, and what had happened was he took ill, and so the academy just recycled him back to the following class, so that was good, he doesn't have to start from day 0. Administration, myself, Captain Livy and Sherry continue to work with the town manager and the rest of the team on the new FY budget, and in July we will start the FY '24 build. Woo-hoo! I can hardly wait. Okay, under training, Officer Peasley went to SWAT training. Sergeant Strock completed the last of his K-9 training. That program has now been suspended. SRO Devine, Corporal Boucher, and Captain Livy attended school crisis management training, which was actually, I understand, fairly interesting. Dispatches, nothing significant to report. And under Municipal Conservation Officer, Heather Callaganis continues to respond to calls regarding various animal issues and conducting follow-up on the feline abuse case. She did a remarkable job with the new feline case, continues to work on difficult issue on Brackett Road. And right now, she's been phenomenal. She has been absolutely phenomenal. In terms of police investigations, prosecutions, and operations, the month of February was busy, and we started to catch up from the holidays. This past month, we saw 16 defendants respond to 17 charges. Of those, 11 were found or pled guilty. 5 were placed on file pending restitution and good behavior, plus other requirements such as medical evaluation or classes as components of their sentences. Lastly, 1 case was settled out of court civilly. The conviction rate this past month was 100%, with $3,400 in fines, penalties, and restitutions meted out by the courts. Safety and security matters. February, though busy, was heavier this month on traffic crashes. We realized the 51.82% increase in traffic crashes probably due to extreme cold weather and inclement weather. There too appeared to be more vehicles on the road due to the Massachusetts and New Hampshire school vacation weeks and folks trying to get the last vestiges of skiing in before the spring thaw. Starting to see that now. Lastly, during significant weather events, if you don't have to go out, don't. Vast majority of our crashes occur during periods of inclement weather. Plan on needs ahead of time. Cancel non-important appointments or events if possible. Additionally, please be mindful of the state and town public work crews who are out on the roads during and just after the storms, cleaning up the snow, slush, and ice. Please give our very talented road crews the space and time they need to get our roads cleaned up, and please be careful when passing them. Thank you. Outreach and matters of interest. We are still engaged in a wide variety of public engagements and busy with Town of Wolfeboro Committee programs. Safety tip of the month. March is a tricky month. Beware the Ides of March. And we will invariably be plagued with at least one last winter storm, followed by the spring thaw. Get ready for mud season and keep your eye on the weather. Stay away from ice and water unless you know it's safe. Lastly, if you have too much to drink and can't figure out a safe way to get home, call a PD and we will figure out something for you so you don't hurt yourself or someone else. Our dispatch number is 603-569-1444. Thank you in advance. Gentlemen, subject to your questions, that's all I have.
No, I think we're all set there. Under commission items, Our next meeting date will be Thursday, April 20th. It'll be right here in the Bradley Room at Wolfeboro Public Library. And in the interest of that meeting, with a new year beginning, we need to vote on a chairman to lead the commission in the coming year. I defer to Commissioner Coop, who,
Thanks, Steve. I'd like to make a motion that Steve Wood retain the position of chairman of this board moving forward.
I second.
sadly, I can't vote.
We know that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. And as Chief Rondo alluded to, our K-9 program, as we know it, has been suspended. This went into effect just a couple of weeks ago. The commission had voted back in the fall to bring the program to a close, and then we kind of let it carry on for a while by our choosing until just recently. But as the chief alluded to earlier, and I think everybody knows, we've been running short-staffed. We're going to be interviewing over the next couple of days for an open position. We've got some strong candidates, so we're excited about that. But we do need need to have all our resources here working in patrol and focusing on the work at hand. And we just weren't realizing, the return, if you will. And this particular dog program, as we had it, is not what we've had in the past. We've had two different programs. And anyway, to speak to this more clearly, we want to make a public statement and offer information for everybody so that they understand. Commissioner O'Brien was kind enough to draft this statement, and he gave this to Commissioner O'Brien and myself prior to the meeting for our review. Not that I count right now, but it was well-written. Commissioner Coop, do you have any edits or any?
I do not.
No, okay. Then, first of all, I would invite one of you to make a motion to accept this, what's about to be read into the minutes.
I'll make the motion.
All right, moved by Commissioner
Second.
O'Brien, Commissioner Coop, seconded by Commissioner O'Brien. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Would you do the honor, sir?
Yes. Okay. The Wolfeboro Police Commission Statement of Retirement of K-9 Rigs, March 2023. In March of 2015, the then Police Chief Stuart Chase created a new position for a K-9 police dog. Riggs was a 22-month-old chocolate lab when he came here from Belgium to pursue his K-9 career. He was to be utilized in a different manner than the previous K-9 dogs in Wolfeboro. It was envisioned that Riggs would be both a tracking and detection dog, as well as to serve as an ambassador for the department. 8 years have passed since Riggs and his handler, Sergeant Strock, began a rigorous training and testing phase for their initial K-9 careers. Over the years, they have been seen in Wolfeboro performing those functions to the best of their abilities and have drawn much praise for their accomplishments. Riggs often had many of the youth of Wolfeboro draped over him to pose for pictures, showing what a good-natured and friendly dog he is. Unfortunately, time has a way of affecting all of us, and when you take into account Riggs' age in dog years, it is not surprising that he developed many gray hairs on his muzzle during his 10 years in Wolfeboro. He also recently suffered a serious injury for which he had surgery. It is a concern for the police administration and the commission that the program be evaluated for effectiveness, financial considerations, and Riggs' age and physical condition in order to determine the future of the Riggs and the K-9 program. After much deliberation, it was decided that Riggs should be granted a well-deserved retirement from service, and that Sergeant Strock should return to full-time patrol supervision. Riggs will live out his life as a member of the Strock family, which is an important consideration. This was not an easy decision, but it was felt that it had to be needed rapidly in the best interest of those involved. That is what the Police Commission is tasked with doing in our oversight work over the police department. We, the commission, want to thank Riggs and Sergeant Strock for their dedication over the years, and we sincerely wish Riggs on his retirement, is it assured that his budget will be repurposed to provide for the future needs of Riggs, and that outside contributions can continue to be added to that fund. It is important to note that the current K-9 program will be suspended now, and that the staffing needs of patrol will take precedence. The commission has made this decision based on the difficulty of staffing the department with hiring challenges. The possible return of the K-9 program will be examined in the future. And I would like to say well done to Riggs and to Strock and to the police department for the time that we've had that program. Wolfeboro Police Commission.
I wholeheartedly agree. They've done a great job on behalf of the town, and for Sergeant Strock and for K-9 Riggs, we are very grateful for both.
I'd just like to add as a personal note that both Sergeant Strock and Riggs lived out a short distance away from me, so I'm constantly seeing them. And I did see the apparent slowdown of Riggs over time, and it was a concern, and it was something that I wanted to put into this message.
That's well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, yes. Okay. Well, we have our Board of Selectmen's liaison here. Luke, do you have anything that you would like to share with us or with the public?
I want to thank the voters for coming out and voting. Nice, it was a snowy day, tough storm. DPW did an amazing job keeping the roads open and safe for people to get out and vote. And, to all of you, chief, captain, the board, the commission, the fire chief, getting the message of the public safety complex out, and getting people out to support that, a great success all the way around. And for all your items on warrant articles, great
Thank you.
success. And it was, it's a real testament that people came out and, supported that. We've had other town hall, took a few times before that, got approved, but the voters, overwhelmingly supported overwhelmingly support public safety in general. So they came out and they supported it, and, now we're gonna be breaking ground here, so.
Great. And also, we have in the audience liaison from the Budget Committee, Tom Bell. Tom, do you have anything that...
Again, it was a testament to the presentations that were done throughout the process, and I think the personal connection that was made with the public, and the advocacy that the public actually gave during a lot of those sessions as well. So probably not ready for congratulations because there's still votes to be made, especially with the SRO, but hopefully that'll go the right way with the school district.
Yeah.
So, well done.
We're very hopeful. Thank you. Do we have any input from the public? None? Okay. Okay. This time I'll entertain a motion to enter into non-public session under RSA 91-A, under personnel matters, and was there anything else?
I would move.
You probably want to add litigation.
Oh, litigation, yes. Okay. Moved
So
by
moved, yeah.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Aye.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Aye.
Commissioner Coop. We'll now be in recess while we get ready for non-public. Thank you, everybody.